Greetings and welcome back to the Healthy Cells Chick Show. So happy that you are here. As my friend Paula Fellingham, founder of Win-Win Women, always says, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. And I am Nancy White, the host of your show tonight. Question for you. Are your body cells happy and healthy from head to toe? Maybe they need a little refreshing or a makeover. Here we love to talk about our healthy mind, body, and spirit. And for optimum health, we need to nourish all three every single day. Our discussions are going to include attributes and suggestions and tips on acquiring and maintaining. Maintaining is always the fun thing about our healthy lifestyle. It's maintaining that healthy mind, body, and spirit. And it always starts in our mind, this great computer up here. Our topic today is toxins. And we're going to touch on what are toxins and toxicants? Can toxins do to harm your health, mind, body, and spirit? And how we can combat those toxins and impurities. We've said it before. Everything starts in our mind. We can have toxic thoughts, and which can pollute our minds and our bodies. So just before we even get started, we're going to talk about some things about our mind. Romans 12:2, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And in Philippians 4:8, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good rapport, that's what we need to think on and praise the Lord for those things. So we are going to have a little bit of fun. Here's my stop sign. I love to bring my stop sign and share with you. We're going to talk about doing a brain dump. A lot of times people just have gone through brain dumps, and you can get a piece of paper and all those things that are negative and that are just going around and around in your mind. You can just write those things out. And if you don't want to write them out, you can just stop and just go over them and release them. Just even have that visual of I'm releasing all these thoughts. And remember, when we release, we want to receive, and then that's what we always are doing, releasing and receiving. So here's a joke. A man came up and said, I bet I can read your mind. I said, I bet you can't. He said, I knew you would say that. It sort of sounds like a man, doesn't it? Or a woman. I knew you would say that. So back to toxins. What is a toxin? A toxin is a poisonous substance that is a specific product of a metabolic activities of a living organism. In English, it means toxins come from the environment, and they're not man-made, but they do have a negative or can have a negative effect on us. Now, toxicants, and not many people hear about the word toxicants, are man-made chemicals, and either toxins or toxicants can lead to toxicity, which too much for our bodies to handle. A dear friend that I've met years ago, Dr. Noreen Mayberry, has her PhD in toxicology, and she and I love spending hours just talking. And we were talking about all the things that we have control over and the things that we don't. But it's good to be aware of, and when we're aware of those things, then we can know better how to handle them. So over 700,000 tons of pollution is dumped into our air and ground every day. That is just amazing to think about. And over 300 to 500 toxic chemicals are in our water. 80,000 chemicals are in commercial use right now. Herbicides and pesticides have destroyed the trace minerals. So for a happy, healthy cell, the number one thing we need is water And then the second is minerals. And when we have depleted all the minerals out of our food supply, then that's where we have to come along and we have to supplement with some things. But when we eat those deficient foods, guess what? It destroys the mitochondria in our bodies. That's a fun word to learn, mitochondria. So what is mitochondria? It's the energy factory of our body. Several thousand mitochondria in nearly every cell. And their job is to process the oxygen and convert substances from the foods we eat into energy. So mitochondria produce over 90% of the energy that our body needs to function. So when we are having things that are destroying our mitochondria, there's ways that we can combat it and be able to revive and rejuvenate it. So when our bodies are toxic, there's some causes that go on. Enormous oxidative stress resulting in accelerated aging. Who wants to age faster? I don't. But what oxidative stress is, it's like rust, but it's on the inside of our body. It's like the inside of our bodies are rusting. So we want to make sure that we're finding ways, again, to slow that rust down inside our body. There's several signs of having a toxic body. And here's some of them, but I want you to remember and think about this. This is for somebody that has a healthy body that's not fighting an illness or a degenerative disease. This is somebody that is exercising, eating healthy, sleeping, drinking water, but you still are just having some of these signs. And if you have extra weight that doesn't shift, if you've tried all the dieting and the exercising, the calorie counting, and that weight still hasn't shifted, it could be a sign that you have some toxicity going on in your body. So this is one of my fun things I love sharing with people. Hold 1 second. So fat. Many toxins are lymphophilic, which means that they have to be stored in fat. And the way God protects our body is anytime we have impurities and toxins, it has to be encapsulated by fat. And so years ago, Harvard deemed fat as an organ because it takes 1 mile of blood vessel to feed every pound of fat we have. It's fun when people say, muscle weighs more than fat. And I'm going, no, 5 pounds of muscle is equal to 5 pounds of fat, but fat just takes up more room. So I want you to think about sometimes when you are working on trying to get rid of your fat, and there is healthy fat too. We can share about that another day. But one of the things we have to think about is that when we have impurities and toxins, and a lot of these are PCBs and pesticides. And so when you're always being consumed and exposed to these things, our body has that self-preservation, and we have to honor that we are working on in a combative stage of life now. It used to be that, decades ago, centuries ago, really, we did not have all the pesticides, herbicides, the GMOs, all the different things that we're now exposed to, the pollutions. And then, when we're doing all these things now and doing our best, we have to do some things sometimes to help us. Another sign is sometimes we have just unexplained exhaustion. And if you're getting your 8 hours of sleep and you wake up exhausted, now remember 8 hours of sleep, it could be some toxic overload. If you're waking up between 1 and 3 at night, that's usually related to stress. And again, we want to be able to release those things before we even go to bed so that we can have that peaceful sleep. Going to bed with a grateful heart is so important. And that's part of what my GRT journal is. It's gratitude, reflections, and tips. And it's a tool to use 10 minutes at the end of each day before you go to sleep to fill in the blanks. I love it when people say, I don't like to journal. And I'll say, well, can you fill in the blanks? But when you reflect over your day and you write down those things that you were grateful for, your deed of kindness, what you did for fun, and just, those little things that we do that we take for granted. But when you can focus on that before you go to sleep, you can even have more peaceful sleep. Sleep is another subject because it is so important to our overall health. And we will address some of those things that can help produce even better sleep. So, a high toxic overload is extra stress on our bodies, and that can be challenging for our adrenal glands. And long term chronic stress from a high toxic load can lead to adrenal fatigue. You probably have known somebody that has had or been diagnosed with adrenal fatigue, and it leaves you feeling run down and exhausted. And people that have adrenal fatigue, just for a tip, are really recommended to avoid caffeine. That's one of the things that um, they just need to be aware of. Again, insomnia, that your body is stressed out due to a high toxic load, and your cortisol levels can get out of whack. We all know those cortisol levels need to level back out while we're sleeping, and our cortisol levels are the highest when we wake up in the morning, and they're the lowest in the evening, because that's when we're starting to wind down and get ready for another night of recovery. That's what our sleep is. It's our recovery time. Sometimes we'll hear people talking about they have a fuzzy brain or they've got brain fog. Some toxins directly affect our brain, including aspartame and MSG. Oh my goodness. Years ago, I was talking to a doctor that had studied cancer for over 10 years, and we had over an hour and a half discussion. And at the end of our talk, and I asked him, I said, all right, tell me about children. What is something that you can see or recommend to help our children that are coming along? And he did not even blink. He said, keeping them off of MSG, monosodium glutamate, which is a preservative. He said, when children are consuming foods with MSG in it at young ages, he said it alters their chromosomes. And then as they grow up, they have these altered chromosomes before their childbearing years. And then when they have children, they have these altered chromosomes that are passed on from one generation to another. He said that's why you'll see propensity from one generation to another to have certain challenges. So remember, monosodium glutamate, and you can Google it. They call it a lot of different things now, not just MSG. But the impact of these kinds of toxins, they are excitotoxins, which means that they literally excite the brain cells to death. So just be aware of. And aspartame is found in many sugar-free drinks, diet foods, and toothpaste. MSG is found in many processed foods. So here we come again. I want you to stop and read labels. I want you, before you buy things, whether it's online or in the grocery stores, whatever, take that time to read the labels. I've heard people say if it has more than 5 ingredients, you shouldn't get it. But the other thing that a lot of people may not know is that when all those ingredients you're listed, this long thing of ingredients, it depends on the ratio of that ingredient compared to the other ones. Sometimes they don't even have to list some of the ingredients on the labels. So that's another way they can get by with putting some things into what we're consuming without us really not knowing what it is. Another sign can be unexplained headaches. Now, there's a lot of reason for people to have headaches and hormones and all kinds of different things. But if you suffer just from regular unexplained headaches, it could be another sign. And common toxins, again, that cause headaches, here we go again, MSG and aspartame, and as well as heavy metals and artificial colorings and artificial preservatives. Something for me, if I have ever had MSG, I do get that little brain fog, and sometimes I get a stomach ache. But I just take a little sip of our delicious Cleanse for Life, which is all natural. I'll share with you more about that, the Cleanse for Life. It's pure alkaline, and it will just, help resolve that really quick. Another thing for children also are artificial colorings and artificial preservatives, because some children are very sensitive to those artificial colorings. And making sure, again, reading those labels. A lot of children have been put on medications for attention deficit, and that's between the doctors and their parents. But I would suggest highly that you look at the diet, make some adjustments and change, give the child 30, 60 days or whatever, in making sure that they're not having any of these things that could be causing some of that extracurricular activity. So mood swings are another sign. And I'm sitting there thinking, if you're having mood swings, and some women, have mood swings certain times of the month or when they're going through the change of life, but it's also an indication that your hormones are a little bit out of balance. There's amazing doctors and people that can really help you to get your hormones back in balance. But some of those toxins that are causing those hormonal imbalances in men and women. So xenogens, isn't that a fun word to say? Are synthetic compounds that act like estrogen in your body. And sources include from that, again, industrial compounds like PCBs, BPA, and phthalates. Remember when everybody started getting their water bottles and then they started putting the little notices on them that they were BPA free? Well, plastics are something that you have to know that some of it leaches out into our foods or our drinks. Just again, be aware. Another thing is bad body odor. And for myself, I have been doing some gentle cellular cleansing. I'm cleaning and cleansing for over 15 years. And even today, when I do have a cleanse day or 2 cleanse days, it's interesting how my armpits don't smell very nice. It's like I've been working on a farm. I'm still alive. I'm still combating all the toxins and impurities. So that's why I really live a cleansing lifestyle, not only to help me absorb the nutrients at a much higher level, but again, to combat all the things I have no control over for the impurities and toxins, because I am going to continue to breathe and live until the Lord says, come home. Another one is constipation. Some people don't like to talk about constipation, especially women, but it's really important for us to eliminate waste from your body every day. And if you're having or not having a bowel movement every day, your body is reabsorbing all those impurities and toxins and poisons, and it gets back into your bloodstream. A tip for you women, if you tend to be a little constipated, put a pinch of sea salt in your water every day. And it doesn't have to make it taste really salty, but you can do it several times a day. Do it consistently for about a week and just see if that helps you to be able to eliminate a little bit easier. Another thing that's great is magnesium and some peppermint. Sometimes we have muscle aches and pains, and it's not from working out. But if you have unexplained muscle cramps, aches, pains, and knots, then again, that could be another symptom or a sign that your body may be in toxic overload. The last is your skin reactions. Our liver should be able to eliminate most of the toxins and impurities. That's why we have these great filters in our body that God gave us. But sometimes if our liver is not functioning at the highest level working, then you're going to start seeing breakouts, rashes, and things on your skin. It's our biggest organ, and that's one of the things that we want to continue, how important water is also. So now it is time for fun. I like it. We're going to stop again. This is a fun little thing for us just to stop and just take a breath. That's been a lot of information. But why do women have cleaner minds than men? Because they change their minds more often. That'll be a good reason, won't it? I'm changing my mind, so I'm cleaning my mind. But the best thing about the future is it comes one day at a time. That is a quote from Abraham Lincoln. The best thing about the future is that it comes one day at a time. We have one day to live, and each day is a great blessing. But if you think your toxic load is too high, it is important for you to reduce your exposure to toxins, but also eating clean, organic food where possible, keeping well hydrated, and getting a sensible amount of exercise really helps. Our body does not have a pump. Our lymphatic system does not have a pump. And so there is a fun way that, especially for women, you've seen the little trampolines or whatever, but we can do some gentle bouncing. And there's some different ways. Dr. John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, he told me years ago, he said, Nancy, you can do the chop. I said, okay, tell me more about the chop, doctor. And so he said, well, you can bounce. He said, I want you to chop high, I want you to chop medium, and I want you to chop low. And he says, doing this bouncing, this kind of movement helps your lymphatic system to release those impurities and toxins. So you can do it for fun. You don't have to get out and jog a whole lot, but just every day, just do some gentle bouncing and have fun. If you have children, just do the chop with them and do the chop dance. So you can do safe cleanses or detox to get rid of toxins and impurities. There's lots of cleanses out there. Over 30 years of research, I have tried a lot of them. I've researched a lot of them, but I have been so grateful that I was introduced to a very gentle, total body cellular cleanse that helps to relieve heavy metals and release impurities and toxins, and also parasites. Very gentle. It's again, it penetrates. There's two kinds of cleanses. There's water soluble, there's fat soluble. But Cleanse for Life is something that I have been incorporating in my life over 15 years. And that's one of the main reasons that I have stayed 6 sizes down. And at 70, I want to continue to age with strength and vitality. So if you want to know more about that, you can get in touch with me. So foods and toxicity in the United States, we talk about GMOs, genetically modified. And in the United States, 85% of corn is genetically modified, 91% of soybeans, 88% of cotton, and plus there's 75% of processed foods on the supermarket shelves that contain some genetically modified ingredients. And years ago, manufacturers were going, I'm not going to put anything on my labels about GMOs. Well, look what's on the labels now. So when you look and you're reading your labels again, and it says non-GMO, that just gives you some more peace of mind. If the label does not say non-GMO, then it probably does have something that is genetically modified in it. Some of you have heard in the past about, we call it the 12 dirty foods and the 15 clean foods. And I'm just going to go over, they call it the dirty dozen. And these are things that I just want you to think about when you're purchasing either organic or just regular. And some of the dirty dozen are apples, strawberries, grapes, celery, peaches, spinach, sweet bell peppers, nectarines, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, snap peas, and potatoes. Then there's the clean 15. And those are avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, cabbage, sweet peas, onions, asparagus, mangoes, papayas, kiwis, eggplant, grapefruit, cauliflower, and sweet potatoes. So you can always ask me if you want to have a copy of that list, or you can just find it out yourself. But again, in this country, we need to know what you're looking at. And ladies, I'm going to go this way because this is fun. You know those little labels that are on your fruits and your vegetables? Remember 5. 5 digits starting with a number 9 means that it's organic. It's okay. So 5 digits starting with a 9 means that it's organic. If you have 5 digits starting with an 8, I'll call it the snowman, the 8, then that means it's GMO'd. The last one is 4 digits and it's conventionally grown and it contains pesticides. So 5 with a 9 is organic. 5 starting with an 8 is GMO. And 4 digits means it's conventionally grown and it contains pesticides. So just knowing that and teaching your children that is so valuable. It's a lifelong lesson that they can take further in life with them. So 80% of our healthcare dollars are spent on preventable diseases. Isn't that incredible to think about, that 80%? Okay, here I am again. We're going to stop and review. So what can we do? Just review just a little bit. We can choose organic when possible. You can grow some of your own vegetables and things to be able to consume. And it's so much better that there's less herbicides and pesticides. You can even start a little garden with good soil, use natural fertilizers instead of chemical ones. And if you have children, make it a fun family project. There's nothing better than just growing something in the dirt and being able to take it in to consume. Continue to make good, better, best choices. We're not perfect, but most of the time we do want to make those better choices. Wayne Dyer said, "It makes no sense to worry about things you have no control over because there's nothing you can do about them. And why worry about the things you do control?" The activity of worrying keeps you immobilized. And this is a sweet little quote. It says, "Worrying won't stop the bad things from happening. It just stops you from enjoying the good things." So again, thank you so much for being with us. I'm Nancy White, a 30+ year health advisor in living a natural, preventative, healthy lifestyle. And I want you to be blessed and remember to take care of your temporary temple until you get your permanent maintenance-free one. And contact me, Nancy White, the Healthy Sales Chick, and sign up for a free complimentary 30-minute It's All About You session. I promise we will have fun, not condemning. We will just highlight the good things that you're doing, but there may be some suggestions I can give you to help tweak your natural, healthy lifestyle. And you can go to my website, TheHealthyCellsChick.com. Again, TheHealthyCellsChick.com. And please check out our great community of Win-Win Women TV for other great shows that are supporting you amazing ladies. I'm so grateful and thankful that you allowed me to spend some time with you today. And I will look forward to the next exciting time, and we will just see what that topic will be. Thank you so much.